Hello, SMB Nation. Harry Brailsford again, and I'm on a return visit to SoundLine Communications with Barrett Adams, the co-founder and CEO. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I met a couple of, this time I got to meet a couple of your co-workers. We talked about the dogs last time. I see the dogs are still here and present and accounted for. But Barrett, I want to have a more serious conversation. So last time we talked about who is SoundLine, which is fair. So now we know who you are. But you know what people like to talk about even more is money.
Yeah.
And they like to talk about how to make money. So let's just hit it head on. How can MSPs and partners and resellers in the SMB Nation community, how can they make money working with you?
Well, the key way to make money is to sell a product that your customer is going to love and going to use and actually be happy that they were sold it. Else,
hopefully.
Yeah. And that's one of the keys with our system is that our resellers are paid in perpetuity. For the life of the customer. And we have no contract, so there's no need to renew it. And so you basically sign up an account and you just get paid on it every month.
Well, and that's a really interesting point because I would offer the telecom sector kind of pioneered that almost as a service model, that recurring revenue model. I was just in a conversation earlier today where I was using the example of the mobile phone plans. Right, and each and every month you get dinged about the 31st for the next month. It took the SMB Nation audience. Remember, we're more from the server side, the data side. It took us a long time to get there with that thinking. But now it's so pervasive, right, that everybody just thinks that way. And I can go on and on and on that there's the belief and the reality that if you're an MSP with the recurring revenue streams, you have a higher valuation to your company versus, the break fix and the hourly and so on. With that said, who does the billing? So how does the money flow? Or do you handle all the billing and reimburse the MSP?
Yeah, so we handle all the billing and essentially we'll collect either the check or recurring payment from the customer, and then what we'll do is we'll just look at we'll provide a spreadsheet that shows every single line or any line item that you might have sold, and basically, so let's say you have X amount of MRR, and then it'll calculate your percentage for the day that you get paid. And the MRR, how much MRR you have sold in the last 365 days determines which percentage we pay at. So we pay between 10 and 18%. So if you're actively selling, then you're making 18% of the MRR. And so let's say 3 months later, we find out that we didn't collect this from that customer and that customer's done, then basically your calculation would just go down. And let's say if we missed anything onto your account, we could add it in and it would look at all the days past that you weren't paid that. And so it gives us a really accurate total and lets you really keep up with it on a day-to-day basis of how much you're owed and how much you've been paid. And so it just is a very transparent system, which our resellers really like.
Well, let me connect a dot, and then I have one more question about confidentiality. But the dot I want to connect is, and I mean, this is scary. We're sitting here in 2019, and so, this must have been, I don't even want to think, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. Microsoft was starting with its cloud services with an effort called BPOS. So this was before Office 365 and Business Productivity Online Suite. Terrible acronym. And I was in some strategy meetings in Redmond with the team, and I was kind of trying to offer my view of the world of, the computer guys at SMB Nation, computer gals, and we really looked to model what the telephone industry had done. Right, the telephone industry had billing down for over 100 years. And here Microsoft was sitting there trying to introduce billing to customers, right? So you can imagine it was a fairly tall order, right? We're sitting here, well, exactly how are we going to do this? Now, with that said, that's just sort of a dot connector. But with that said, how can an SMB Nation MSP sleep at night knowing that you're not going to somehow approach their customer directly or whatever, because you're seeing the customer information, right? So let's take the tough question last here.
Well, for example, if a reseller brings us, let's say, a law firm, and that we don't really have any other services to sell that said law firm, and that law firm is going to sign up for the phone services and the hosted phone system from us, but the commission is going to be tracked to that reseller, and there would just be no benefit for us to say, hey, you're not going to get the commission anymore, because we want you to bring us that next account and that next account, because we know that as the MSP, we are just another service provider, but as the IT person, and the reseller, you're the one who has the trust of the customer,
right?
And you can explain it. And so if we go and say, hey, use our service, well, there's thousands of us, but the way that we work is that the resellers trust us so much and know that when they deploy SoundLine Communications, it's just going to work, and we just would never want to jeopardize our relationship with the resellers, and so that's why we know that we have to pay out money to reach a broader audience, and that's why it's a win-win.
And now the law firm would get a bill though that says SoundLine Communications. Okay, all right, and that's fair. I mean, I'm just asking, right? There's different ways to go down that road, but I can attest from working with you guys for a couple of years that we have built up a trust relationship. So I can attest to that. I have no reason to believe otherwise. So with that said, well, it's great to make a return visit, my friend. Thank you, Barrett.
Thank you.